So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to change the alternator in a 2005 Toyota Camry. Luckily for this car, the alternator is located fairly at the top of the engine bay and not behind it or at the bottom, so we won't need to put the car on jack stands. So let's get started and get this car back on the road. Alright, so this is the Ultima brand premium quality remanufactured alternator. I got it from O'Reilly Auto Parts, big surprise. I'll include the link all in the description if you want to get this one, but there's also a bunch of other sources you can get yours from. It's all up to you. And so opening this box, there's a pamphlet. It's just a quick start guide, I guess. And this is the alternator, so let's take a look. Got it out. So this is where the belt will go. We have a bolt, maybe that's going to go through here, maybe another one for here, and so maybe a clip here, and then maybe a ground wire here. So I will include all info for it in the description, but the part number is R110033A. That was my phone. Alright, so first things first, with any type of electrical stuff, we're going to want to take off the black negative terminal wire for the battery. So it is a 10 millimeter. Alright, so that loosens that up. Take that off and tuck it away. Here's the alternator, actually. So let's see, it looks like we have some electrical connections to take off. Alright, so after you remove this little rubber thing from that little ground wire, you expose the screw. So it's already fairly loose. I'm going to just take it off the rest of the way. It's a 10 millimeter socket, or bolt. Don't drop it. You can take this ground wire off, just like that. And now for this clip right here, if you come around on the side right here, it says push. So we're going to push that and pull. And then that clip is now taken off, the electrical clip. And then for this blue clip, if you watched my valve cover gasket video, you'll probably remember this guy. So all you have to do is push this down and pull it out. And then that guy's off. Got this clip right here. I'm not too sure where the push is for this. I think it's on the bottom. So that didn't take the clip off. All that did was take the clip off this metal bracket seating. But I mean, it's off, so I guess I could go with that. And the last clip that I'll want to take off is actually down here. Let me see if I can show you guys better. So I'll take the flathead, push in this side, and you'll see that side goes in a little more. Do the same thing on the opposite side, and then it comes out. So this clip is now out. Right now I'm going to move it to this side and then work on the belt, getting the belt off. So that right there, this guy right here, that is a 19 millimeter, and that's going to relieve some of the tension. That's going to relieve the tension actually on the belt. That's right here. This belt will take that off, and then we'll have more access to take the other bolts on the alternator itself off. I'm going to give this a shot. This is a 19 millimeter socket. Got the breaker bar on it. Alright, so I ran into some bullshit yesterday, but that's okay. My mistake is your gain, because you're going to figure out what not to do. So, there was a fake bolt that you have to basically pull down on to release some tension. I was using a 19 millimeter 12-point socket. So the problem with that is it rounded out the bolt head. What I had to do is I got this. It's a 9-piece bolt extractor set. This is a 3/8 drive. They look like this, so they can grab onto a rounded or stripped bolt. Basically, like, you can just look up bolt extractor set or turbo sockets. I think that's a brand. The other thing I ended up getting was a Serpentine belt toolkit. It's really going to help. What it does is, so it's almost like a breaker bar, except it is very thin along the side. So I'll be able to get into that cramped space and then pull down, release some tension, remove the belt, and then let it go. So I'm going to combine this with a bolt extractor instead. So the 12-point socket that I used initially probably screwed up a bolt head. So if you have one that's kind of on the edge, do not use a 12-point socket. Try to get a 6-point socket instead. this won't really round it out as much. If you end up rounding it, that's okay. Just get a bolt extractor or turbo socket. They look like that. So take a look at this. So that right there is the socket, the 19mm bolt extractor. It is on the bolt head, or the fake bolt head. So basically what that is it doesn't actually turn or loosen. It's attached to assembly. It's almost like it's welded onto that assembly right there. That little pulley that you see is part of that assembly. Now when you pull it down, there's like a spring that compresses. That spring compresses and it releases tension. As soon as you let go, the spring will pop back into place and it'll bring the tension right back. So you have to be careful and make sure that you remove the belt fully before you put the tension back on. Otherwise you might have the belt stuck halfway, or you might hurt your finger, so keep your finger clear of the pulleys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, attach it to that. This is a 3/8 drive and so is that. So let me get it on. Okay, now it's on. So when I pull this down, you'll see slowly the tension come loose on that belt. When you slowly release, you'll see the tension comes back on. Alright, so I'm hoping that you guys will be able to see it as I see it, but slowly push down, release some of that tension. This belt's loose. Okay, I'm gonna have to go down a little bit more than that, so let me try this. Okay. Yeah, see, so that's a dilemma right there. So I'm having like clearance issues. I come down this much and I'm like stuck right here by the frame of the car, so this can't go anymore. What I'm doing is I'm going a roundabout way. I can put this in here. This is a half drive, so I'm putting an adapter back onto it. Holy shit, that worked. Got the belt off. So this socket right here is the turbo socket with the grip. This is right here, this is an adapter from 1/2 drive to a 3/8 drive. And this is a part of the Serpentine belt toolkit. This is a half drive, and over here is a space for a 3/8 drive. And from the 3/8 drive, I have the rest of the breaker bar. So I was able to just pull down from here and not have to worry about that clearance problem. But this little belt was in the way a bit. You just have to kind of nudge it. That's all you can do. I just don't know how I'm gonna get that back off. But that's a problem to worry about when I get there. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, this is the next bolt to work on right here. It is a 14mm. This is a 14mm. I'm gonna try the breaker bar on it. There we go. Getting it open. Ow. I just pinched the shit out of my own hand. Okay, so I think that is loose now. But holy shit, that would have been easier. Getting off the belt anyway, that is. So that's that top one. There is a bottom one to get to. It is that bolt down there. So if you're coming out, here's the top one. It was right there. Then we're going down. We're looking right there. There's the other one. That is a 12mm. Alright, so going for that 12mm. Okay, I think this is it. Okay. Alright, I think we basically got it from there. Alright, so that was the bottom screw. Where am I putting these? So I'm not sure if this thing's gonna want to come out nicely or not. Alright, let's see if maybe this will help. Let's see. Okay, there we go. It's just on like a friction fit. Come on, you piece of Alright, so we're just going to transfer over some parts right now. So basically what these are, this and this right here are what needs to be transferred over. This is just what's going to hold the electrical clips and wires and stuff. So right here you'll see a screw missing on the new one. So that's where this screw goes right here. That screw is going to hold this little metal shield. We're going to take that, put it over here. There's a spot right here. That's to hold the other metal clip. That's for this right here. So that's a 10mm. That looks to be about a Phillips. So let's get started. So basically I'm trying to get to this screw right here. I tried using a screwdriver and it looks like I'm about to just strip. Yeah, that's not working. I sprayed it with some WD-40 and so now I'm trying to use not the crosshead part of it but the actual bolt part. I think it's a 7mm. But the actual socket won't be able to fit straight onto it because this black plastic cap or whatever it is in the way. So now I'm going all the way around the thing to try and take it off and then put that socket on it. So I guess patience is key. Alright, take this off. Yep, so this is actually an 8mm socket. Since overkill seems to be the name of the game today, breaker bar 1/2 to 3/8, 3/8 to 1/4, 1/4 to 8mm socket. There you go. Now you got the thing nice and loose. Get the fuck out of there. There we go. So this goes right here. Put in the bolt. This is a 10mm. So we got that one on. So you even hear that black plastic shield thing is in the way. So I'll have to take that off. Take that off. Put this guy. Oops. Shit, that's how you lose your 10mm sockets. Put this here. Put them in by hand first. Alright. Let's put this guy back on. And again, these are, what are these? These are 8mm. 8mm sockets, bolts. So now we have this on and this guy on. Alright, so we're seating the alternator into the spot, whatever. Alright, so now let's get some screws, some bolts going. Okay, let's grab this guy. Make sure it's aligned properly first before I tighten anything. Alright, so that's the new alternator on. So now I just need to get the belt back on. Okay, so now I believe I got the belt back as it was, so now I'm going to have to release some tension again. So let me grab all my tools. Oh, okay, looks like it came off in a couple places, so I'm going to take it back off. I had to put the belt back together, and so I got it back on. But you can even see that there's some parts that I need to correct a bit, but that's okay. Sorry I couldn't show you. But basically, just reverse process. You need both hands for this. Alright, so I'm just going to do a quick inspection of everything. It looks like the belts are fairly lined up. Okay. So I think that's it. Alright, so now I'm going to put in this plastic clip. I'm going to re-plug in this electrical clip. Right there, this one, that clip. Put back on this ground wire. Put the clip ground wire in and then put that down. So now I'm just going to tighten this down a little bit, not too much. It's just a ground wire that is tight, and I'm going to cover it with this rubber covering. And then let me grab this blue clip, don't forget this one. Push that one back in. Put this guy back on his little hanger. And now I'm going to come over here, put the negative terminal back on, tighten that down. And now, for this car, the battery is already dead. So I'll probably try to jump start it. If that does not work, then I'll have to replace the battery. So that's what sucks. So when your alternator's out, definitely replace it as soon as possible. As soon as you start getting trouble, it's probably going to die within a few days from there. So when you're done, it's always good to just do a check for everything. Check the belts again. You don't want to start it up with the belt in the wrong position. You might snap something. All the electrical wires are all back on. The tension's fine, the bolts are fine, the alternator is not moving. Battery terminal is back on. Now remove all your tools too. Don't leave anything in here. I have the current battery. I have jumper cables on it. I have a multimeter. Right now it's on the direct current voltage. And so this battery has about 9.45 volts. It should be at 12.6 or so. It's obviously lost some charge because of not having been driven, started, and charged by the alternator. I'm going to connect it up, hook it up to my car, the Mazda. Okay, I probably shouldn't do this with one hand, but goes nothing. Okay, so, oh, okay, there we go. So now I'm getting a 12.63. So I'm going to start my car, and then I'm going to start this car. My car is now started, and we have 13.73-ish volts. I don't know if I should just start right now. See what happens if I try to start it. All right, let's give this a shot. Maybe I should wait a little longer. So now the battery is dropped down. Let's see what that does. All right, so I let the car charge for a little bit. I had it jumped. I had it connected with my car running for about half an hour or so, and then the voltmeter finally got to about 13 volts. It would stutter a few times. I gave it a few more minutes, maybe 5 more minutes, and then it finally turned over. So now I'm going to let this car run for a little bit. The alternator should be working and charging the battery. That is how you change the alternator on your 2005 Toyota Camry. If you like the vid, give a thumbs up, like, subscribe. So I hope you guys can get your car back on the road. Thanks for watching.